Welcome to the Stress-Free Retirement Blueprint. Now, if you're watching, the chances are you've spent the last 30 or 40 years doing exactly what you were told to do. You worked hard, you saved money, you built a nest egg. You spent your entire adult life programmed with an accumulation mindset. But here's the hard truth that most financial advisors won't tell you. The skills that got you wealthy are not the same skills that'll keep you secure. In my book, The Retirement Income Equation, I compare retirement to climbing a mountain. You've spent decades hiking to the summit, but as any mountaineer will tell you, the most dangerous part of the journey isn't the climb up, it's the descent. Getting back down safely requires a completely different set of tools and a completely different map. Right now, you might be looking at your account balance and wondering, is it enough? You might be waking up at night worrying about inflation or the stock market crashing or healthcare costs. Well, that's because you're trying to solve a retirement problem with an accumulation tool. In this course, we're going to change the equation. We're going to shift your focus from the size of the pile to the security of your paycheck. Research from Time Magazine and the Wall Street Journal has proven that the happiest retirees aren't necessarily the ones with the most millions in the bank. They're the ones with enough guaranteed income to cover their bills, no matter what the market does. We call this the Sure Horizon strategy. Over the next 8 modules, we're going to build a plan that separates your needs from your wants, insulates your lifestyle from market crashes, and handles the big risks like longevity, long-term care, and by the end of this course, you won't just have a portfolio, you'll have a permission slip to enjoy your life. So if you're ready to stop worrying about your money and start enjoying your freedom that you've earned, let's get started. Welcome to the first step of your stress-free retirement blueprint. If you're like most people, you spent the last 30 or 40 years programmed with one specific habit, saving. You've been climbing the mountain of wealth accumulation. But as we discussed in my book, The Retirement Income Equation, reaching the summit is only half the journey. Most people that die on Mount Everest die on the way down, not on the way up. That's the dangerous part. And most people aren't prepared for it. So getting back down the mountain safely is your biggest challenge. In this module, we're going to change the rules. We're shifting from an accumulation mindset to a decumulation mindset. Before we go any further, I need you to see something. Because the real reason that retirement feels harder today isn't you. It's that the structure underneath retirement has changed. Now let's start with your parents on the left-hand side. Most of them retired under what I call the income foundation. At the bottom, they had a pension. That was guaranteed income for life. It didn't matter what the stock market did. On top of that, they had Social Security, another guaranteed check. And only then, at the very top, was their nest egg. Their investments were the smallest part of the structure. And here's the key. Their lifestyle didn't depend on the market. They ignored Wall Street and still paid their electric bill. That's stability. Now look at today on the right-hand side. For most of you, pensions are gone. Social Security, it exists, but it's a smaller relative to your expenses, and people question its future. We're not going to talk about that here and debate it, but it is much smaller than it used to be. And what's holding everything up? Your nest egg, your 401k, your IRA, your brokerage account. The largest piece of your retirement foundation is also the most volatile. You're standing on something that moves. Now, this is why retirement feels different. Your parents had an income floor. You have an asset base, and assets fluctuate. So every time the market moves, your foundation feels like it's shaking. This creates stress, not because you don't have enough money, but because your income feels uncertain. That's exactly what my friend and mentor Tom Hegna talks about when he talks about the happy factor. Retirees with reliable income report higher satisfaction, not because they're wealthier, but because certainty reduces anxiety. When your income shows up every month, no matter what, your brain relaxes. So the problem isn't modern retirement. The problem is trying to live off assets without rebuilding an income foundation. Your parents didn't have to solve this. You do. And that's why the rest of this course matters. We're not going to complain about pensions disappearing. We're going to rebuild your income floor intentionally. Because once you have the income clarity, everything changes. Your parents had stability by default. You have to build it in by design. So let's be honest about what retirement is supposed to look like. Let's look at the left-hand side. That's the dream. Every day feels like Saturday. No alarms, no stress, no boss, no deadlines. You worked for decades for this. And that vision is beautiful. But let's take a look at the right-hand side. Here's what often happens instead. Retirement turns into market anxiety. Headlines, volatility, checking your account balances, wondering what the market did today. And suddenly, every day feels like earnings season instead of Saturday. I can tell you from 30 years of conversations that I've had with retirees, they all sound like this. Jeff, I think we're okay, but I'm nervous. Jeff, the market dropped. Should we be cutting back? Jeff, are we going to be all right if this keeps happening? Notice something. They don't say, I don't have enough money. They say, I'm not sure. Account balances do not equal peace of mind. You can have $1 million and still feel uncertain. You can have less than that and feel completely confident. What makes the difference? Certainty. Happiness in retirement doesn't correlate strongest with net worth. It correlates with predictable income. When income is reliable, your brain stops scanning for danger. That's not emotional weakness, it's human wiring. The goal of retirement planning is not maximizing the statement that you get every month. It's minimizing the uncertainty, because uncertainty creates stress, and stress steals the joy of retirement, what it was supposed to bring to you. So the question becomes, how do we move from anxiety to certainty? How do we turn this picture on the right into the experience on the left? That's where income strategy comes in. Now, I want to introduce you to something that sounds responsible, but can quietly steal your retirement. I call this the just in case fallacy. And most everyone falls into it at some point. It sounds like this: I'll spend less just in case. I'll delay that trip just in case. I won't upgrade the house just in case. I'll wait to enjoy it just in case. Now, this feels wise. It feels disciplined, but it can become a trap. This image is powerful. All that wealth locked away, protected, guarded, never used. That's what happens when fear becomes the primary retirement strategy. The real danger isn't running out of money, it's running out of time, because someday often turns into never. And when people hoard assets for an undefined future, they sometimes pass away with the largest account balance they've ever had and the fewest memories. Let that sit for a second. Now, don't misunderstand me. I'm not telling you to be reckless. I'm telling you that fear should not be your financial advisor. There's a difference between planning responsibly and living defensively. Now, we'll come back to this later, because once we build a proper income floor, just in case stops controlling your decisions, and you can spend with confidence instead of hesitation. So the question becomes, what risks are you actually protecting against, and which ones are just mental noise? That's what we're about to unpack. Now, this might be the most important sentence in the entire course. Retirement is an income problem, not an asset problem. For 30 to 40 years, you were trained to think in terms of assets. How much have I saved? What's my balance? What's my rate of return? That mindset works during accumulation, but retirement flips the equation. You don't live on assets, you live on income. Assets are variable. They move, they can go up, they can go down. They're exposed to market crashes, lawsuits, fraud, inflation. They're powerful, but they're vulnerable. Now shift right. Income is different. Income is what shows up. It pays the electric bill, it buys groceries, it creates stability. And when income is structured properly, it can last as long as you do. This is why account balances don't create peace of mind, because your brain doesn't relax when you see a number. It relaxes when you know the bills are covered. That's what income does. Income reduces uncertainty. The happiest retirees aren't the ones with the biggest accounts again. They're the ones who know a check is coming next month, and the month after that, and the month after that. Certainty changes behavior. Now, let me be clear. This is not about putting everything into guarantees. It's not about ignoring growth. It's about solving the income problem first. Once the income floor is built, assets become opportunity instead of anxiety. When your income is secure, volatility becomes noise. When your income is uncertain, volatility becomes fear. So the real question becomes, how do we intentionally design income instead of hoping assets cooperate? That's where the structure we're about to walk through comes in. So let's start with some science. Research from Time Magazine and Wall Street Journal has uncovered the secret to the happiest retirees, what Tom Hegna calls the happy factor. They found that retirees who rely solely on their assets, like 401ks and IRAs, for income report higher levels of anxiety. Why? Because they wake up every day wondering what the stock market did to their grocery money. Conversely, retirees with guaranteed sources of lifetime income, like pensions and annuities, report significantly higher levels of happiness. They also live longer, and they worry less. Why? Because the check comes every month, regardless of what the money does. So how do we optimize all of this? We start by separating your money into two jobs. As Tom puts it, you need paychecks and playchecks. So playchecks are for your essential expenses. These must be covered by your guaranteed income sources like Social Security, pensions, and income annuities. You should never have to sell a stock to pay your electric bill. Playchecks are for your discretionary expenses. This is the fun stuff. Travel, hobbies, gifts. These are funded by your investment portfolio. Now, let me share with you what I call the Sure Horizon retirement income strategy. Everything we've talked about so far leads up to this. This is the structure behind a stress-free retirement. Not a product, not a guess, a framework. We divide retirement money into three distinct pools. Each pool has a different job. When each pool does its job correctly, retirement becomes predictable. So let me walk you through them. So pool number one is your essential expenses. That's the bowl on the left-hand side. This is your foundation. This covers your housing, food, utilities, insurance, and healthcare. These expenses have to be covered by guaranteed income sources. Social Security, pensions, and other structured income vehicles like annuities. The goal here is simple. You should never have to sell a stock once again to pay your electric bill. When your essentials are covered for life, fear drops dramatically. Then we get to pool number two, discretionary expenses. This, once again, is your playchecks. This is your lifestyle bucket. Travel, hobbies, dining out, gifts, grandkids. We typically structure this in a 5-year, what we call sinking fund, meaning we put some money in there where you have several years of lifestyle spending protected from market volatility. It's invested very conservatively. So if the market misbehaves, you don't panic. You simply draw from this bucket while your growth investments recover. This is where flexibility lives. Now, pool number 3 is your growth pool. That's the right bowl. This is your long-term money. This pool is what you're using to fight inflation. It grows over time, and we can leave it during periods of volatility. And it refills your discretionary bucket when the markets cooperate. This is where volatility is acceptable because your needs are already handled. So this is the system. This is how we tie it all together. Notice something important. These pools all work together. This isn't all conservative. It's not all aggressive. It's balanced. Security first, flexibility second, growth third. That order matters. When retirees struggle, it's usually because everything is mixed together. One account doing 3 jobs. That creates confusion, and confusion creates stress. When you separate the jobs, clarity returns. This is what income first planning looks like in real life. We solve the essential income problem. We protect the lifestyle, and then we let growth work long term. That's how you move from anxiety to confidence. In the rest of this course, we're going to break down each of these pools in detail, how to build them, how to size them, how they interact, and how to adjust them over time. Because retirement isn't about predicting the future. It's about preparing for it. Your parents had stability by default. You build it by design, and this is the design we'll work from. So let's zoom out for a moment, and let's discuss so far in this foundation. But retirement security is broader than just investments. These are the 7 pillars we focus on when building a stress-free retirement plan. First and foremost, we have a written plan. Not ideas, not opinions, not hopes, a written intentional plan. If it's not written down, it's not a strategy, it's a guess. Clarity reduces anxiety. Second, we're going to maximize Social Security. This is one of the largest guaranteed income sources most retirees will ever have. Claiming too early or without a strategy can permanently reduce lifetime income. This isn't about taking it as soon as possible, it's about optimizing it. Step number 3, we're going to consider a hybrid retirement. That might mean working part-time. Doesn't necessarily mean working in the same career that you did, or it might mean maybe doing some consulting work, doing something meaningful a few days a week. Sometimes a little income early in retirement dramatically improves long-term flexibility. Fourth, we're going to protect your savings from inflation. Retirement isn't 5 years. It's often 20 to 30 years now. If your money doesn't grow, your purchasing power shrinks. And this is why your growth pool matters. Step number 5, we're going to secure guaranteed retirement income. This is the core. This is your income floor. This is what allows you to sleep at night. When this is solved, many of your fears are going to disappear. Sixth, we need a plan for long-term care. Healthcare is one of the biggest unknowns in retirement. You don't need fear, you need a strategy. Even having a plan in place reduces anxiety. Step number 7, we're going to use our home equity wisely. For many retirees, their home is one of their largest assets. It can provide flexibility, it can provide backup liquidity, and it shouldn't be ignored in planning. Now, notice something. This isn't just about investments. It's about income, protection, flexibility, and structure. When these 7 areas are aligned, retirement becomes predictable instead of stressful. A stress-free retirement isn't about chasing returns. It isn't about building security intentionally. It's about building security intentionally. And that's exactly what this course is designed to help you do. Before we move into the next module, I want you to do something simple. Not complicated, not stressful, just honest. You can't build a retirement income strategy if you don't know where you're starting. First, what I'd like you to do is write down what you've saved. IRAs, 401ks, brokerage accounts, savings accounts. Round numbers are fine. This isn't about precision, it's about awareness.
Second, list your guaranteed income sources. What will you receive from Social Security? Do you have a pension? Any other reliable lifetime income? This is the beginning of your income floor. Third, I want you to estimate what it costs to keep the lights on: housing, food, utilities, insurance, healthcare, not lifestyle spending, just essentials. When you subtract the guaranteed income from essential expenses, that difference is your income gap. And that's the real retirement problem we solve. Don't worry if the numbers surprise you. Clarity is empowering. Uncertainty is what creates anxiety. In Module 2, we're going to take these numbers and start building your income engine. We'll show you how to close that gap and how to structure your pools and how to move from assets to income. Now, if today shifted how you think about retirement, then we're on the right track. Retirement isn't about chasing returns. It's about building certainty. I'll see you in Module 2.